No matter what your current situation is, something bigger, something better, something higher is going to work out for you if you just don't give up. If you know that something bigger is going to happen, doors will open up. Doors that you thought will not open up will open up. If one door closes, another door is going to open. And my book, Follow to Rise, is an example of many doors that were completely closed that opened up 5 years, 4 years, 10 years down the line for me. And I'm sure it can open up for everybody who believes and does not give up.
Hi and welcome to another episode of the peopleHum interview series. This is your host Anushka at peopleHum. peopleHum is an end-to-end one-view integrated human capital management automation platform, the winner of the 2019 Global Cody Award for HCM that is specifically built for crafted employee experiences and the future of work. We run the peopleHum blog and video channel, which receives more than 400,000 visitors a year, and we also publish several interviews with well-known names globally every month. We have with us today Bobby Dsouza. Bobby is highly passionate about helping leaders, teams, and professionals build a strong, performance-driven, and adaptive mindset that creates higher productivity, a more engaged team, higher growth-driven organization, and happier overall fulfilling individuals. He is the author of Fallen to Rise, a shocking, true novel-style, true inspiring story of rising up from being a confused, broken teenager who really worked doing manual labor to today's inspiring individual. He has empowered 152 corporations and events and 29,000 people in live events through his raw, unfiltered keynote speeches and masterclasses. With 20 plus years of experience in business development, concept marketing, and service industry, he can help diverse organizations and people. With 13 years again in learning and development previously, he brings in a deeper experiential experience with keynote speeches, workshops, and master classes for your team virtually or face to face. We can't be happier and thrilled to talk to him today on Leader Some. Welcome, Bobby. We're thrilled to be talking to you today.
It's a pleasure. It's after a long time somebody has narrated my description with so much of justice. I really appreciate that, and it is a pleasure to bring great value and connect with you as a team.
The pleasure is absolutely ours. Thank you so much for taking out the time to talk to peopleHum today. So, diving right deep into the interview, Bobby, the first question I really had for you was, you've been a motivational speaker for 8 years now. So, can you just share your experience? What are your observations on some intrinsic values that one can inculcate to constantly stay motivated?
See, actually, this is quite an apt question right now. We've had a situation wherein there was a COVID that came in, and there was this whole people wherein people said, I can't believe that, a disease that possibly started in Wuhan in China would come to India or the different parts of the world, and then said, okay, if it's come in China, it will not come to India. If it's come to India, it will not come in my city. Okay, if it's now come to my city, it will not come to my town. Okay, it came to my town, but it's not going to come in my neighborhood. Okay, it's come in my building, but it can never happen to me. And suddenly people start seeing them, admitted in the hospital, or somebody in their close family really becoming unwell, and unfortunately some even leaving this world with an untimely death. COVID-19 has really shaken everything that we could even comprehend. Isn't that true? You know, uh, Everything that we thought was so familiar completely changed. And then there was this moment of time wherein we said, things are better now. We can go out, party, go to the market, go to weddings, go to conferences. And suddenly we realize there is an upsurge again. So it's a very chaotic time. And one of the things I've learned, with the privilege of inspiring thousands of people and having a lot of one-to-one conversation, I've realized that during chaos, the natural reaction for people is to be shaken. When the boat is shaking and when there is a storm around, it is very natural for the passengers in the ship, to be shaken as well. And people are shaken. There is fear which naturally comes out, within people. But there's a quote that I recently read, and I also put it on LinkedIn, which says that, seasoned sailors are never created on the docks, they're always created in the storms. The greatest war pilots are never created, at the airport, but in the stormy, thundering winds. And I think one thing that people should know, that change is going to happen, whether it's through pandemic, whether it's through situations that would happen personally, in relationship, in career, in finances, in businesses. One of the biggest thing that people need to know is changes are going to happen. But the question is, are you going to consistently build your mindset? You know, can you be unshakable during shakeable times? And that is one key thing that people need to pick up, because challenges are going to happen. Can we consistently build in that inner fuel? And there is a quote which says that, if you have no enemy within, then the enemy outside can do you no harm. you know and personally, I think if you and I are just sorted out inside, if we are calm within ourselves, uh, then the people around us, whether they are our daughters, our nephew and niece, our family members, our mother, our brother, our sisters, our friends, they're looking at us every day, and they're seeing that in chaotic times, in shakeable times, are we being chilled out? Are we being people who are shaken completely, or are we being an inspiration to people, saying that, man, look at her, if she can be so strong during this time, I can be like her. And the world today, whether it's India or outside, are not looking just for real heroes. They are looking for real heroes today, who live within homes, who stay within a 2 BHK and 3 BHKs in Mumbai or around the world, wherein we become inspiration to our neighborhood. And I think being unshakable in shakeable times, I think, is a very important need for everyone, including me.
Absolutely, can't agree more with you. And that was so well put by you, Bobby. You provide us with such a fresh perspective, and completely agree on how change is inevitable, and especially during such trying times, we just need to hold on and know that we're not alone in this, and just constantly do better. And that was really a wonderful and motivating advice that you provided us with. So thank you so much for that.
Pleasure. It is a pleasure.
Okay, so going on to the second question, your book, Fallen to Rise, talks about finding the courage to rise during chaotic times and constant delays and failures, right? And falls, in fact. So I feel like it's really relevant today with all the pandemic and everyone trying to recover from the first surge. So can you just share some ideologies from your book for our audience?
Absolutely, I can. Fallen to Rise, the book that you see over here as well, um, is actually a true story of my own life. And as you shared at the start, it's about somebody who was on the crossroads of life, you know, and quite around 20 years back, I remember I was standing on the highway of Mumbai, a place near Goregaon, which is called as Oberoi Mall. And near there was a slum area over there, which is still there, which is called Pathanwadi. Okay. And I used to sell watches door to door, house to house, knocking on doors. And I still remember some customers, who were not very ethical, or people who did not have the etiquettes. Some people used to catch me by the collar and just throw me outside. Now imagine this, a 17 years, 16 years old boy, not knowing what to do, first around the first or second job, manhandled and thrown outside on the roads. And I still remember, it's the month of July, there is heavy rain falling from the sky, and there's rain falling from my eyes, because that moment of time when there is this amazing BMWs and Mercedes and beautiful cars passing by with great speed, and there I am standing, जैसे हिंदी में हम कहते हैं कि भीड़ में भी तन्हा, standing there not knowing who the hell will take care of me, what will happen. I still remember I'm standing with that umbrella over my head, and there's rain falling and there's tears falling, because that day I don't even have a rupee, not even a rupee, just to travel back in a bus, because a bus was a luxury that moment of time. And I still remember I traveled back for 2 hours just walking back home. But I remember that when I was on the highway, and where there's rain falling from heaven, and I'm just looking up in the sky, all wet, drenched, my tie is wet, my shoes are tattered. And I told myself this, that, Bob, this customer rejected you. Things have not worked out for you in the way you wanted. But I, Bobby D'Souza, make a choice to say that my biography will never determine the autobiography that I'm writing for my life. And one thing that I have learned throughout all my life, and this is the ideology that I want to share from the book, is that even in the most darkest moments of our life, even in the times when everything around us is just falling apart, there is a light, there is hope. Only if we have the guts to not just crib and self pity and do a pity party and say like Angara Ranauts does in the movie Queen, मैं बर्बाद हो गई हूँ, rather than just living and saying that I am doomed and everything is gone around, knowing that that there is, that this current reality is not going to be my present and it's not going to be my future. It's going to change. This is not permanent, it's going to change. And I think even in the darkness, if you're able to see the light, then my friend, you will be unshakable. And that's connected to point number one. If you want to be unshakable, you should consistently never let that fire of your hope ever get dimmed, no matter what anybody does to you, what anybody says to you, or what situation happens. And that's my message: fallen to rise. And fallen to rise can only happen if you're able to see the light even in darkness. And that is one message that I want to give, to the audience and to you.
Wow, that was super enlightening. I literally had goosebumps at one point in time when you were providing us with your anecdote. So, firstly, thank you so much for that answer, the anecdote, and congratulations on the success of Fallen to Rise. It
Thank
is such an inspiring book just from the little answer and the crisp answer that you provided us with. Honestly, I can't wait to read it. So, thank you so much. So, you're saying it's all about having the right innate mindset during tough times and just taking everything that life gives you in good stride and just overcoming everything by yourself, right?
That's right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And, when you say the last line, overcoming everything by yourself, uh, yes, there is a lot of, I will do it. But I personally think, over the years when I have messed up, failed, learned, investigated, grown, failed, messed up, and repeat, one thing that I've learned is, there is a lot of things that you can do alone. But some of the greatest heroes in life are not really people who do it alone. They have people. For example, the name of your organization is peopleHum, HUM, right? Hum is together, right? And I've realized that there are so many leaders and mentors and people who have really helped me, to rise above what I was going through. And I know when I was 18, 19 years old, when I was just, just completely lost, I did not know what to do. I remember I went to one of my mentors, and because my father left me when I was a very little boy, so I never really experienced a father's love. And as a guy, you want a father's love, right? My mom was consistently the strong pillar, but you need a father figure in your life, right? As a guy, at least, for sure. Even girls would need a father figure. So I remember I used to go to one of my mentor, and I remember that I used to sit down in his bedroom, and for 1 hour, I used to just talk, talk, and share my struggle and say how things are pathetic for me, how things are not working out for me. And he would just for 1 hour listen. And at the end of that 1 hour or 30 minutes or 45 minutes, he would just give me a big hug. And for me, that, as this young boy who did never experienced a father's love, for me, that was beautiful. But not only did he show love, but he also guided me. And my thought is you cannot just be unshakable all the time by yourself. Sometimes, we're humans. Sometimes we're going to go through ups, we're going to go through downs, and sometimes we're going to go through excitement, all of that. And I think we need people in our life who can guide us. And, videos like these, podcasts like these, inspirational videos, books, content, so much of these content are so helpful for helping somebody in their specific journey. you know I don't know what people are going through right now, but whoever is listening right now, who knows, one of this possibly message might just be a hope for them that they were really looking for. So I think it's never a one man show. I think you need people around you. That's what my thing.
Absolutely, absolutely. Firstly, it's great how you responded to that question. That was a very, very enlightening response. And I love how you say that we always have something to learn from others and something to impart like knowledge to others as well. So it's a two-way process. We're not all self-reliant. So completely agree with you on that one, Bob.
Yes, absolutely.
So, going on to the next question, in fact, that leads me to our third question. How do you think we can really inculcate courageous leadership, especially during a chaos or a crisis?
Hmm. See, I personally believe that, as a person, I have been a person who was a follower at a point of time. As a person, I've been a person who's been led by leaders. And then at a point of time, I became a leader as well. And I've seen a lot of leaders learn from them. One thing that I have observed is, and again, it's connected to what we've already spoken in what we've just shared. We spoke about being unshakable, right? We spoke about not letting that fire go down. Uh, what basically happens for a lot of leaders is this is the challenge for leaders. Team members expect that the leaders knows it all. A lot of time, people expect that leaders cannot make mistakes. Yeah, just like Elon Musk, wrote a tweet and suddenly he's lost $1 billion, for example. People do not expect leaders to be imperfect. People say that, how can he make a mistake? He's our leader. But the honest truth is this: a leader is just like you and me. He's just gone a little ahead of us. He's just, learned a little more lessons. He's just, handled more difficult situation compared to us. And when a leader goes through this time wherein people are really demanding, whether they are stakeholders, customers, colleagues, team members, juniors, and even their senior managers, everybody is expecting so much from them. But sometimes the leader himself could be completely lost. Isn't that possible? And during that time, this is my personal thought, that it is important for a leader to not let that inner courageous voice that made him the leader in the first place, never let that be killed by the noises that he hears from outside. And I've learned this the hard way, you know, is a lot of times what happens is you're hearing so much of chaos, business is not coming. Let's say if you're part of business development and you're a leader, and then you have a boss who's consistently telling you're not getting business, you're not getting business, and automatically you lose your self-worth because you've just been shouted in front of by so many people. Or you're a head of digital marketing, or you're head of procurement, and suddenly your family is expecting a lot from you. They say you cannot cry, because you're the leader of the house, for example. So you're the leader of the house, your wife and husband and mother, brother, whoever is expecting from you, your colleagues in office are expecting from you, your team members are expecting from you. But the question is, what if you don't know the answer? So I think the way comes out when you do not let that inner voice be killed by the noises outside. And therefore, it is very, very important for leaders. It does not matter how much of busy schedule they may have. They might have 10 meetings lined up. It is very important. And I've been doing this over the years. In fact, I'm going to just show on the top over here. Over here, what you see, the diaries, these are personal journals of mine. Each one of them is completely filled up. They're personal diaries which I've used. And this is one of the reasons why I've been able to rise up above everything else, is basically learning to just pause every day, just some time in the morning. First thing, when you get up in the morning, don't touch your phone for 30 minutes. And before you go to sleep, don't touch your phone for 30 minutes. And in that 30 minutes, just take a pen and paper handy. Plug in a headphone, buy an expensive one so that you'll use it more. you know, Plug in a headphone, listen to something really inspiring, or listen to the sounds of birds or rain or whatever makes it inspiring. Listen to a podcast, listen to peopleHum, whatever podcast that works. Listen to something very inspiring and then inspire yourself. Then take a diary and pen, ask yourself, why am I doing what I'm doing? And today, right now, as a leader, I'm feeling very, very chaotic. I'm feeling confused. I do not know the answer people are expecting from me. Why? What is that one reason that I should not give up today? What is that one reason that I should still lead my team no matter what the hell I'm feeling inside myself? What is that one reason? And when a leader is able to identify why should he not give up? Then what will happen is he'll sit down with himself. He'll brush up the dust from his mind. He will clear the clutter, and he'll say, okay, I want to rise up today and I want to say that I want to make this day highly impactful. I want to ensure that I'm able to create great impact on my team, on my family, on my colleagues, on my parents, on everybody I meet. And living in every day in the moment, pausing and never letting that inner courage be killed by the voices outside.
Wow, that was such a valuable insight. So you're saying we need to be proactive and take matters into our own hands. And firstly, we need to identify and recognize the fact that maybe we need a sense of direction sometimes. We're straying too far away, and then focus on working on it.
Absolutely, absolutely. We got to keep re-looking back as to why should we not quit. Or let's say, for example, at the start of the year, all of us, including me, we put in a list of goals, right? Resolutions. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. I'm going to learn guitar, or I'm going to do this. And suddenly you suddenly realize that COVID completely hampered it, right? So then when it's hampered, either you can keep crying about it, or you can say, okay, it's time to have a backup plan. Can I re-strategize? And for re-strategizing, I think what you really need, which is really despised or undermined by a lot of people, is emotions. You need your emotions so excited and so fired up that even if you're feeling down, you can find a way out. But if you're just feeling very low as a leader, then you can never feed your team motivation if you are starving without motivation. And you need guidance, and for that you got to pause. That's my thing.
Absolutely, absolutely. So it's basically making sure you're self-motivated before you help others, get equally motivated, and having a coach or a mentor of sorts who can kind of guide you along.
Absolutely, that is 100% true, and I think it's very valuable to have people around you as well whom you can open up. I personally think that everybody, does not matter whether you're a leader or not, everybody needs to have somebody whom you can open up, and they are not necessarily just your mother and father. Because the thing is, mother and father are very emotionally connected to you. For example, let's say your manager shouted at you in front of everybody, so it's very easy to say to your mama, listen, aisa hua pata kya, aisa hua, somebody said this. And because your mom loves you so much, she will listen with a bias. Even if you're wrong, she will say, okay, mala kalta hai, main samajhti hu. But when you have a mentor who's gone far ahead of you, possibly one of your senior managers or a coach or a speaker like one of us, then what happens is they're not emotionally connected to you, so they can give you a more neutral suggestion and guidance. And I think sometimes you just need some more neutral suggestions rather than just people who are very personally connected to you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Totally second you on that one.
Yes.
So, thank you so much for every response of yours is just so unique and with such key takeaways. So I really must thank you for those wonderful insights.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for your kind words. It means a lot.
Sure. So, also, Bobby, what would you really say about leaders who, like, what can leaders do out of the way to unlock their highest potential?
Mhm. I think there is a lot that leaders can do, but one of the ways that leaders can really unlock their highest potential is by consistently reinventing themselves. I do a lot of keynotes on reinventing yourself, and recently we did one for a client, using music as a tool. Uh, Reinventing yourself is very, very important for leaders. What happens is, when a leader has worked with a team for a very long time, people are used to seeing him in a certain way. After some time, when the leaders even tells a team member to do this, the lead people say, oh, I've already heard it, I've already done it. He's like ghar ka murgi, I know he's my leader. Okay. So people tend to not take the leader very seriously, because they have made a brand image of the leader in a certain way. And that is why it is very important that when you reinvent yourself, you change from who you are to something bigger, better, and higher. And that's a very, very important thing. When a leader is consistently evolving, developing, improving, getting better, accelerating, and succeeding, automatically people want to follow him, right? Nobody wants to follow a leader who's consistently failing. And a leader cannot win if he's not consistently reinventing himself. And therefore, it is very important for a leader to consistently adapt to the market conditions. To be able to see the market trends, what's going to happen, and then evolve accordingly and proactively tell his team as well. Listen, these are the changes that are happening. For an example, one of the organizations that I have delivered a lot of keynotes with is a company called Satya Micro Capital. And the managing director of the company, the Honorable Mr. Vivek Tiwari, I was having a conversation with him during COVID when it just started. 2-3 months back, 2-3 months had passed by, and I told him, listen, this COVID has happened. How are you doing? How are things? He said, listen, my team was already aware that COVID is happening. We already made an arrangement for work from home, and this was like the first or second month, but the team already had made plans 2 months earlier. In other words, they were able to see the trend before we could even comprehend it. And I think it's very important for leaders to be two steps ahead, proactively look at the changing market condition and be ready for it, rather than reacting to it, to be responsive. And when everybody around is just struggling, the leader is more unshakable, right? He is more relaxed because he's reinventing himself. So I think reinventing, developing himself, updating himself, checking out market trends, I think, is very important, and that's exactly what the team members will also listen and follow, right? Let's say, for example, you're the leader, people see you are adapting consistently, automatically they will also learn. People learn more from the actions rather than the words, and that's true, right? We do that ourselves. So
Absolutely, absolutely. And I feel now with COVID, the need to really upskill and reskill ourselves has really gained more prominence, right?
it has definitely, and some people might have not made use of it. For example, some people must have spent all their time just cribbing about when will the lockdown get over, or some people must have unlocked their highest version because they're consistently going on different e-learning sites, attending different webinars. Because difficult time will pass by, and like in Hindi there is a quote which I wrote which says, ये वक्त भी गुजर जाएगा लेकिन ये वक्त कैसे गुजरेगा ये चुनाव आपका है. So
Wow, wow, very well said. There's so much positivity from your end, Bob. That is great. That's wonderful. And completely agree with you on how we constantly need to be in the process of learning, and we need to stay relevant to changing times and change with the times, right?
absolutely, definitely. Mhm.
Right. So I really don't want to end this interview, but just to kind of wrap the interview up, do you have any final remarks you'd like to leave our audience with, or a quote on like what describes your feelings on the future of workplace, and you?
One thing that has kept me going on no matter what I have gone through or who I have helped over the years is this one quote which is in the book Fallen to Rise, and which is, something bigger, something better, something higher is waiting for you if you do not give up. I'm going to repeat that again. Something bigger, something better, something higher is waiting for you. And whoever is going to listen it today, tomorrow, whenever, no matter what your current situation is, something bigger, something better, something higher is going to work out for you if you just don't give up. If you know that something bigger is going to happen, doors will open up. Doors that you thought will not open up will open up. If one door closes, another door is going to open. And my book Follow to Rise is an example of many doors that were completely closed that opened up 5 years, 4 years, 10 years down the line for me, and I'm sure it can open up for everybody who believes and does not give up. I am available on Spotify, by the way. You can just search me on Bobby Dsouza. I have my podcast. I'm on YouTube. I'm everywhere, wherever you want to search for me. But I'm delighted to bring value. Thank you.
Wow, that was wonderful. I'm sure our audience are going to check that. And so you're saying the best is yet to come, and we just need to keep getting better and like be a better version of ourselves as time passes, right?
Absolutely, definitely.
Great. Thank you so, so much, Bobby. It was beyond wonderful talking to you today. I can't be happier, and I had such a fun time interviewing you. So, thank you for those lovely insights that you provided us with. We shall surely stay in touch, and you have a healthy and safe time ahead of you.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Thank you. Bye bye.